which 20 or more families will need to be relocated. So let's go to today's business. We'll be discussing about EIA submissions. Preparing EIA submissions. Preparing EIA submissions. So there are two sequential types of formal EIA submissions. Two types of formal EIA submissions, which presents progress reports. So we have two types of formal EIA submissions. We have project brief and environmental impact assessment report. We have a project brief and environmental impact assessment report. So to meet the requirements of EIA process, you need to submit these two reports, project brief and EIA report. Yeah. So a project brief is an initial preliminary document. I don't like it here. A project brief is an initial preliminary document that provides a general overview of the proposed project. Initial preliminary document that provides a general overview of the proposed project and its potential environmental impacts. So this is a preliminary document which is prepared earlier at the beginning. I should read it again. Preliminary document that provides a general overview of the proposed project and its potential environmental impacts. It provides an overview, a general overview of the proposed project and its potential environmental impact. So this one is prepared earlier in the EIA process, at the beginning of the EIA process. So it is submitted to the Environmental Regulatory Authority. So I have misplaced my slides. While the EIA report is a comprehensive, detailed document, the first one is a preliminary document that provides a general overview of the proposed project and its potential impact. While the EIA report is a comprehensive, detailed document which presents the findings of the EIA process, full EIA process. So the first one is preliminary. It's provided at the beginning of the EIA process, which is submitted to necessary EIA authority, while the EIA report, the first one is project brief, which is preliminary. These are the two submissions which are made during the EIA process. While the EIA report this one is a detailed document which gives the full detail of the whole EIA study, the whole EIA process. So it will present all the findings, everything which has been done during the whole process of EIA. So I wanted to make this distinction before I go further, because we study each one of them separately, the EIA report and the project brief. So let's start with project brief. Looks like I've deleted some slides unknowingly. I don't know what has happened. So do you get the distinction between the two? The difference between project brief and EIA report. Can difference yake? Tamvesesa? Okay. Based on the screening criteria, it helps you to assess whether there is need for EIA to be done or not. The project brief, it will give you that information. So the director determines whether or not EIA is required. So this is provided in the project brief. That's why I say this is a preliminary report or submission which happens at the beginning of the EIA process. So it determines whether the EIA is required or not. Because whatever is written in the project brief, it needs to be submitted to the director. We are talking of the EIA process in another minute. So we are talking of the director in the Environmental Affairs Department. Yeah. So if an EIA is not required, the project is exempted from further compliance with EIA requirements if it is determined that after submission to the director and after reviewing through the screening process. Remember, the screening, it uses the Annex 1 and Annex B, as I said, the list of documents which requires EIA, which is mandatory or not. So by just the screening, checking, so you use that information. As I said, you need to read it on your own because the requirements are so many. maybe if it's displacing this kind of this amount of people, so you cross check. So after screening, if it's determined that EIA is not required, it means the project is exempted from EIA. So you can proceed to conduct, you can proceed with project implementation when EIA is not required. Otherwise, if it's exempted, sometimes of course they may just provide recommendations, more especially on how recommendations for environmental management. Because when it does not require EIA, it doesn't mean it doesn't have any impact on the environment. It may have some minimal impact. So the director, if EIA is not required, the issue is certificate for you to proceed with project implementation. If EIA is not required at that time, so you proceed with the implementation. If there's need for recommendations, they'll give you recommendations to make sure you manage the environment when you're implementing the project. So EIA may not be required, but recommendations will be there, guiding you on what is required to be done. So if an EIA is required, the director informs the developer or appropriate government authorities that EIA must be undertaken and EIA reports to be prepared. So if EIA is not required, it means you are exempted from conducting EIA or exempted from further compliance with EIA requirements. The issue a certificate to make sure that you can proceed, you're exempted from the EIA process. But if EIA is required, it means the director will inform the developer and appropriate government authority that EIA is required. So you'll be told whether it is required or not. So this information is provided in the project brief, which is submitted to the director in the Environmental Affairs Department. So unless a project is likely to have evidently significant environmental impacts, project developers should be able to prepare a project brief with little or no assistance from environmental specialists. So when you're preparing a project brief, if the project is likely to have is not likely to have major impacts in the environment, the project developer can prepare the project brief by themselves. But if it is likely to result or cause major or evidently significant environmental impacts, you need environmental specialists to help you in this session to write the project brief. So, whatever impacts are very minimal, they allow the project to write the project brief by themselves. But if you determine that maybe it will cause major impacts or evidently significant impacts on the environment, you need to consult experts, environmental specialists, to write the project brief. So, however, section 24 of the EMA, remember EMA? What is EMA? Environmental Management Act. So the project, according to EMA, the project brief should state the nature of the project. This is what is to be considered when writing the project brief. The nature of the project. Is it dam construction, airborne construction, maybe it's mining? So the project brief needs to include the nature of the project, the activities that will be undertaken. This will be included in the project brief, because you will be sending to the director to determine whether EIA will be required or not. So it means the director needs to know the nature of that project, the activities that will be undertaken. Because in most cases, those activities that will be undertaken, they are the ones that will cause the impacts that we are talking about. Those are the activities that cause the impact or that will lead to the impacts. So those activities need to be noted in the project brief. The possible products and byproducts anticipated from that project. What is it? The products, like the outcome. What is it that be the product? The byproducts. My byproducts abagabo process. Mira kunzira wala secondary. Kama products, the anticipated products of the ones that you really want. And my byproducts, makazo gowera kama products. My byproducts like ngati mubiro wanoga ufred kanga ujama kama byproduct. Mama wana siku from kama leo it will be a byproduct. When many product yanga kafa ujama wana sina chipalege, that is a product. So possible products and byproducts anticipated needs to be noted in the project brief. And the number of people the project shall employ. How many people will be going to? It's only construction. You can see how many people are working in the road construction project. In the area of land, air, water that may be affected. This one is somehow scope the area of land. How much land will be affected? Air, water, how much will be affected? If you are constructing, you are doing general construction, it means a certain amount of water will be affected. What if you are constructing a building closer to the most, especially those in the roadshow areas, So when you are building those areas, you need to determine how much amount of water would be affected due to that kind of project. Remember, in most cases at Hawama, they don't care what will happen, the impact that will have on the water quality, the land, the air, they don't care. And any other matters that may be prescribed. So these are the things that, according to EMA, are required to be covered in the project brief. The information that is required in the project brief. So you need to include this kind of information when you're writing your project brief. And also more generally, it should also contain basic description of the project purpose, more generally. The project purpose, size, location, preliminary design, including any alternatives which may be considered, objectives, the purpose of the project. What is the purpose? What is the location of the project that you implement? The size which will be covered, the design of that project, or any alternatives that may be considered. For example, the in terms of site, as I said, some projects, more especially, there are some projects which you may consider in terms of alternatives. If you feel like they will cause more harm or more impact in this area, sometimes you may think of implementing it in another area. Project in another food, but in one load, we don't have but sometimes you have alternatives, like the results you talked about. If you feel like they will cause major impacts within that area, you may think of implementing, maybe just changing the location. Some projects you can easily change the location. For other projects you can change the locations. And the stage in the project, the stage of the project in the project cycle. So the stage of the project in the project cycle, as you said, I don't know whether I was with you or the stage exactly like the stage where you incorporate EIA in the project cycle. Remember, project is like a cycle. You start with feasibility study, whatever, implementation, evaluation, all that process. So at what stage are you conducting EIA in the project cycle? And discussion of which aspects of the project are likely to cause environmental concerns. Which aspects of the project when implementing, when you have laid out the activities. There are some activities that you know for sure they may cause environmental concerns. For example, the road construction. So those are the things that you consider which aspects of the project or which activities are likely to bring environmental concerns and also propose environmental management measures. How are you going to manage? So it's written in the project brief. It's something that you haven't yet done, but it's like you are proposing what you are to do. So you are proposing the course of actions that you are going to do, the project brief. So you come up with proposed environmental management measures. Remember, as I say, it's done at the beginning of the EIA process. So this is a preliminary submission to the EAD. Any question on the project brief? Hmm? Are we together? Okay. Let's go to EIA report. EIA report. As I said, this one is written at the end of the whole EIA process, which is a comprehensive and detailed document which will present the findings of the full EIA process. So EIA report is detailed. It's comprehensive, detailed document. So if you remember the EIA process, there is a stage whereby we said you need to submit the report. So based on the findings which are written in the report after submitting the report, whether EIA should be done or not, the EIA, the comprehensive one, the generalized EIA report, EIA process, if you remember that flow diagram. So after scoping, whatever, that's when you write the EIA report. So the EIA report, we have review of the EIA report, whereby I say there is need for public involvement. We should make sure that the public participates in the review of the report. Because whatever all the processes which are there, as we said, they need to involve the public. For example, if you are collecting data, you are collecting from them. So they need to review whatever you discuss, if it's what it is really in the EIA report. So this one is a detailed document which presents the findings of the full EIA process. So depending on this EIA report, the decision whether the project should proceed or not will depend on this EIA report. So after review of this EIA report, the decision-making process comes in, whereby we need to decide whether the project will be approved or not. You remember the generalized EIA process. If it's not approved, it means you need to start over to check to see. Because maybe it may not be approved when you maybe indicated some impacts, or maybe you deliberately skipped certain impacts and they realize that no, this is very important, it may cause major problems, or they need to do some amendments. So when it's not approved, as I said, it doesn't mean they are trying to stop that project from happening. You may need just to make some few adjustments to amend some things, and then it will go back to write the EIA report, and will also undergo the review, and the decision will also be made based on the if they provide recommendations, incorporate the recommendations in the EIA report. So general requirements of an EIA report. General requirements. What is it required when you are writing an EIA report? So the general requirements of an EIA report. So the project developers and their EIA teams should be mindful that an EIA will be evaluated by EAD using the standard. So as project developers and the EIA team, you need to be mindful when writing this report. You need to be mindful because it will be evaluated by the EAD, Environmental Affairs Department, using the standard which is there is a standard report writing that is required. If you are writing a report, you are required to fulfill that requirement, that standard. So if your report doesn't meet the standards, it means it may not pass, so it may not be approved. So the criteria embodied in these guidelines represents the quality standards which EAD expects project developers to meet in preparing the EIA report. So there are guidelines which are supposed to be followed for your EIA report to pass using the standards which are set by the EAD. So the EAD expects the project developers to meet these standards and preparing EIA report. So it means the EIA report you just don't write it, or you don't just write it for the sake of it, because you should be mindful that the report will be reviewed and it can be approved or disapproved. So whatever is written in the report is very necessary because they change it against the standards which have been set by the Environmental Affairs Department. So you need to be mindful in writing the report. And then the terms of reference. Another general requirement of the EIA report is the terms of reference. Of course, I have full slides at the end of what terms of reference are. So about the terms of reference. So the terms of reference under which the EIA was prepared should be included in the EIA report and usually is attached as an appendix to attach the terms of reference at the end of the report. Like it would be like a supporting document. So the terms of reference serves as a roadmap to conduct the EIA by specifying what needs to be studied, analyzed, and to be reported on. Terms of reference. It specifies what is to be studied, what is to be analyzed, and what is to be reported on. So it means whatever you are doing when you are writing, you be checking on the terms of reference. So the terms of reference are prepared soon after the screen scoping. After scoping, before the detailed studies are conducted, that's when you prepare the terms of reference. So when you are writing a report, you need to attach the terms of reference. Because whatever you are doing, the EIA report is prepared based on the terms of reference. Whatever you prepare, you plan to do. So that's the terms of reference. The other requirement is the discussion of EIA methods. What methods are you going to use? So the methods, the EIA methods need to be documented in the EIA report. So the methods that have been used in carrying out the EIA should be documented in the EIA report to assist reviewers in understanding the results and how they were obtained. EIA methods. So they also need to be documented in the report. How you collect your data, the methods that you use to collect the data. So that the reviewers it will be easier for the reviewers to understand how the data was collected, the methods that you used. So the methods include those for identifying potential impacts, the methods for those for identifying potential impacts and for collecting data and information, and for analyzing impacts and assessing their significance. So the methods of data collection and information collection, for identifying potential impacts and for analyzing impacts. Those methods that you used needs to be included in the EIA report. So for example, the methods for collecting data can use field surveys, public consultation. So I don't know if you have ever done in field surveys, it needs to be interviewing the people in the field. So you need to include how you collected your data, the methods that you used to collect data. So it is especially important in EIA to make a distinction between severity of the impact and its significance. Through data collection, you can easily know the severity of the impact in terms of maybe magnitude, how much, how far the duration or the frequency of that impact. So that data to determine the severity of the impact, it means you have a method for collecting the data to identify potential impacts and also severity of that impact in terms of duration, frequency, and magnitude. And also the significance of that impact. You know, some of the impacts, like they'll cause minimal disturbance to the environment, but for others they'll be of higher significance, some impacts. They cause major changes or they bring major negative impacts on the environment or to the people. So you need to determine all such things. So you need to discuss the methods that were used in the EIA process when we are collecting data. If you use the surveys, interviewing the people, maybe it was one-on-one, maybe you did public consultations, maybe just had a focus group discussion to get the information that we want. Or maybe use the checklist. So you need to determine, or you need to include it, you need to document how this kind of data was collected. Because in most cases, you find this kind of information may be overlooked, may not be included in the EIA report. But how will the reader or the reviewer know how to collect the data? Because as you are writing the report, you just read it. But they need to make sense to read. Namba data wewe unataka kuserve already kwa focus on discussion. Pia that's the information ya nini. Maybe did public consultations. So this is another requirement of the EIA report. And then public consultation. Public consultation. That's another requirement of an EIA report, public consultation. As we have mentioned now and again about involving the public in certain stages. EIA report, and when do we involve the public? Public participation. When do the public participate in the EIA process? We mentioned this and we should be asking.
What's the question again?
When do you involve the public? Or when do the public participate in the EIA process? Which stages? Yes, I've mentioned this. Last year I mentioned.
I think you said the scoping stage.
Scoping and I just mentioned
The final stage.
It's always the final stage.
Forgotten the name, but the first stage.
Yes. Public participation is in message. When I was scoping, what others say, do we expect public participation? Review. So the methods and the results of consulting the public should be documented. How you, the methods you use for consulting the public and the results that you got from public consultation, they need to be included, they need to be documented in the EIA report. Right? 10 minutes 5 I said, why minutes? Let's have 5 minutes break. So can you pause me? 5 minutes break. So another requirement is that of information and mapping standards. So all sources of data and information used in an EIA should be suitably documented. Information and mapping standards. All data used in EIA should be documented. So secondary sources should be acknowledged and properly referenced. We have primary source and secondary source. You know the difference between primary source and secondary source of information. So primary source of information and secondary source of information. Primary source, for example, if you're doing interviews, that's a primary source. You can take away. You go to the village or you meet people, you meet collecting information from them, maybe asking questions. That kind of information is a primary source of information. Why are secondary source of information? Especially you understand when you are doing your project. So that's what year are you? You are in year third, fourth year. And Abel, yeah, oh, see that. Okay. So I'm sure Esther will understand this better. For now, for you, you understand it better. We have primary source of information and secondary source of information. That's primary source of information. While secondary source of information is the one that we get through maybe literature review, someone did something, so we call that kind of information. So secondary sources should be acknowledged and properly referenced. Let's not use it as our own information. We are taking that information from somewhere. We need to reference that information. So where the relevance of the information for EIA purposes may be debatable, the EIA should justify its use with a discussion of its quality, currency, and precision. Relevance of the information for EIA purposes may be debatable. Sometimes you start debating the relevance of the certificate information that you are putting in you or you are using in your EIA report. If that is the case, you need to justify the use of that information in terms of quality, precision, and accuracy of that kind of information. So the EIA should also identify data and information gaps. EIA should also identify data gaps or information gaps and analyze their effect on the study, results, and reliability. So maybe you have information gaps, maybe after collecting data, you need to analyze the effect on the study results. Because maybe that gap that is there may affect the study results. So you need to identify the gaps. I'm sure you have already collected data. Not yet. Yeah, what kind of studies gaps or when you're collecting data? You need to identify such information gaps. The gaps, the information which is necessary, or the data gaps, you need to analyze the effect on the study. So if you have those gaps, do they have a major effect on the study? Will the study results be reliable with that kind of gap that you have, information gap that you have identified? You get my point? You did not get my point. Abel, you got it? Yeah. You did not get the point. So when you are doing your data collection, for example, if you have gaps, information gaps that you feel like during the collection of data there is a gap, some information that you needed, but maybe you didn't have that kind of information. It means you have a gap. There is a gap somewhere. Or maybe you try to do research and there is a gap somewhere that you're failing to fill. So you need to analyze the effect of that gap on the whole EIA study, on the study results. Because if you have a gap, for example, you were supposed to interview, for example, you were supposed to interview 50 people, you must interview 30. It means there is a gap because there is a reason why you are supposed to interview 50 people. So that gap, you need to analyze will it have impact on the EIA study? What means some kind of information you will not get it. There is a reason why you have interview 100 people, and maybe interview 100 people. So, and you need to also analyze the reliability of that kind of results that you get from the EIA study. If you have that kind of. Now we get. I hope after this you study, and if you still have issues, you can contact me. If you just write on the code so that everyone will benefit. So let's look at the structure of an EIA report. Structure. How can we structure an EIA report? So the first point is executive summary. Executive summary. If we were writing a thesis or whatever, we have executive summary. In most cases, when you want to review a paper, the first thing you do, you review the executive summary. After reading the executive summary, will provide a comprehensive information, not, should I say comprehensive? Short but comprehensive information. You get a lot of information from that, from reading the comprehensive, the executive summary. I don't know how you have, like you have read the whole report. So it provides short but comprehensive summary of the report with an emphasis on expected impacts and management measures. So comprehensive summary of the report with an emphasis on expected impacts and management measures. So if you observe the expected impacts and impacts are likely to happen, you need also to come up with measures to manage those impacts. So the executive summary will include that information. Then you need an introduction. After executive summary, you write an introduction. Introduction. So the introduction will identify the type of the proposed project. What project you want to implement. So the introduction will identify and specify the type of project, its location, and if the project is part of a larger proposal. If the project is part of a larger proposal. So the introduction will include that kind of information. Proposed project. Are you constructing an airport? Maybe multiple cost down. Maybe you are constructing a school. A 5-story building school, maybe. We have 20-story buildings in that construction. So the introduction, you need to identify what exactly is the real project that you want to implement, the proposed project. You need to include it because they need to read the report. You can't just say the impacts are these without knowing what kind of project that is to be implemented. Because the impacts from maybe road construction, mining will be different. So during your introduction section, you need to include the type of the proposed project. The location also need to include in the introduction, not location. If it's mining, when you're doing the mining. If it's construction of the purpose dam, where are you going to construct the purpose dam? Its location, you need to include it. So maybe it's just part of a larger proposal. Some proposal will be bigger, maybe you may have different projects within that larger proposal. Is it only the only project that you are doing, or there is so many projects within that proposal? So you also need to include it. Introduction number. Then project description. After introduction, you're just introducing the project, then the project description. project description. So the project description will indicate the status of the project in the project cycle. The status of the project in the project cycle. Is it in pre-feasibility stage, feasibility stage, design stage? Maybe you've already started implementing the project. So project description will indicate that kind of information, the status of the project. As you remember, we said can be EIA can be done within the project cycle at different stages sometimes. So you need to indicate the status of the project in the project implementation, project cycle. So the description of the project and its alternative sites, design, and implementation strategies will be given in only enough detail so that impact forecasts and management measures can be understood and appreciated. Project description. And its already sites, design, because the project design will be in the project description, and implementation strategies will be given only enough detail so that impact focus. Because when you talk of the impacts here, it means you are focusing, you are thinking of the future, what impact will come. Chifukwa iya projects na yabe kumefuna ione kuti mavuto anje amene akuzabwera tizikumbukire kuti EIA is conducted before the project is implemented. Even though sometimes can be done pre-feasibility study, EIA can be done during feasibility study, or maybe detailed engineering or the design when you are designing. Sometimes during the designing of the project, you can do EIA. So impact focus and management measures can be understood and appreciated. We are focusing, we are thinking of the future. One project is lunch. It doesn't mean but we are thinking of those impacts which can come as a result of the project implementation. So project description will help you to foresee the impacts and come up with the measures to manage those impacts. Together. So in most cases, the project description will include the inputs, outputs, processes, and major types of equipment that will be used. The description will include the inputs and the raw materials, the inputs, the outputs, the processes that will be done in the project implementation, and also major types of equipment that will be used. Kama project abula kumbuka kasoro nyingine. Mwone mise au mwaka mise mwezi maybe mmekizola pesa. Kila kuzalize mwalela atachote suzimete. I don't know, I got somebody 25%. I will as by then another component is the environmental planning and no. I'm still on the project description. And as I said, it includes inputs, outputs, processes and major equipment, maps, flow diagrams, and photographs where necessary. Maps, photographs, flow diagrams where necessary. Right map of flow diagram, also the tools. And also a summary of technical, economic, and environmental features essential to understanding the project. Technical, economic, and environmental features which are very essential to understanding the project. Because the reader will be, we have so many readers, so we need detailed information so that they can understand the project. this is more of description of the project. You're just describing the project, the status of the project, what stage, where is it being done, the inputs, the raw materials that you are using, the output, the processes which are being used, what type of equipment, the map, you need to provide a map, flow diagrams, and even photographs. No project is not right? So the other component is environmental planning and design. Environmental planning and design. Environmental planning and design. So environmental planning means you are planning on avoiding and minimizing the impacts. How do you minimize the observed impacts or the identified impacts? So all the issues that have been taken into account for avoiding or minimizing the impacts for capturing potential benefits, for compensating potential residual impacts, and for management. So environmental planning and design, you need to design how you will manage the identified impacts. You need to consider how you avoid or minimize the impacts that have been identified. How are you going to capture the potential benefits of that project that you are implementing? Or if you try to avoid or minimize these impacts, you still have some residual impacts. How are you going to manage those to compensate for the residual impacts? So it's more of coming up with mitigation measures and how you are going to avoid or minimize the impacts. How are we going to capture the potential benefits? Because as you are minimizing, avoiding the negative impact, you are trying to enhance the um, positive impact of that project. The other component is public consultation. Remember, we are looking at the components of EIA report. What is it that is you need to incorporate in writing the report? So public consultation, the report discusses the objectives for public consultation, methods you used for public consultation, and the results of public consultation during the year. What were the objectives for consulting the public? The objectives and methods you used to consult the public, and the results of public consultation. The other component is the environmental setting, the setting, environmental setting, the setting in which the project is to be implemented. Environmental setting, description of the environmental setting, the setting of the environment. What is the environment like where the project is being implemented? So you need to give enough detail because it helps in the analysis and assessment of the impact. Minamaro is already prone to something else, to a certain environmental issues. So we need to describe the environmental setting where the project is being implemented. Minamaro says they are prone to soil erosion or due to runoff, whatever. Then we have a certain project. You need to describe because definitely it may likely result in two other negative impacts. Or maybe the environment is just okay and conducive with the project that you are to implement, you are planning for the proposed project that you want to implement. So you need to describe the environmental setting, what the environment is like when you want to implement your project. is a bare ground. See, paternal kuti ngati imapakitsa imawanga reduce wind, tifuna mukange 20 story building chachitali ngabo ubenga bare. Remember kuti bali si soft tonight kumandikira badala. Atande, sai mami bali kango sasuka bali. Ngabele batende bamwe, akusho basi. Tezwa batende zolo kwa ABC. Sisi mami badala kitana nyumba ndani nini. The towel Como if you remember, I remember what I said, you remember where the candles are so there? Mom was so well. You know, Maraja is a bare ground. So they were prone to wind. So those are the things we are talking about the environmental setting and why we are making it. This way that you must die. So the environmental setting describes spatial and temporal boundaries within the environmental setting, spatial and temporal boundaries, like in terms of space and time, within the environmental, within which the environmental setting was considered. The space and the time, the existing conditions of that area, of the project area, in terms of physical, biological, and human environment. Physical environment. As I said, you want to build, construct a 4-story building, biological environment, and human environment. And it also describes environmentally sensitive areas of special or unique biophysical, socio-economic, and cultural values. Environmentally sensitive areas. Now they are prone to floods, from the project, environmental sensitive area, that environmental sensitive area. So you need to consider. Maybe you are planning to construct something or do something in that area. Maybe you want to construct a dam in a flood prone area. And that you need to consider that kind of sensitiveness. When I apply one, just like you want to apply one with a liquid, you got to put the So that's about environmental setting. What is the environment like? Let's answer that question. What is the environment like? 20 animals. Okay. The other component is the assessment of the environmental impacts. Assessment. Remember, we are discussing the components of EIA reporting, things which need to be included in writing the EIA. So this is a stage whereby you are assessing the environmental impacts now. So it's a description of how beneficial and adverse impacts, both direct and indirect, are expected to occur if necessary for each feature of the environment. Description of how beneficial and adverse impacts, both direct and indirect. Remember, we discussed about direct impacts and indirect impacts. Beneficial and adverse impacts. So possible cumulative and synergistic effects are highlighted below, like the source or cause of the impact. In terms of assessing the environmental impacts, what is the cause? Or what is the source of this impact? Because if you say we will have this impact, what will be the source of that impact? Or what will cause that impact? Is that soil erosion? What will cause that soil erosion? Air pollution. What will be the cause of air pollution? Or what will be the source of air pollution? So on the assessment of the environmental impact, we look at the source, severity of that impact. How severe will that impact be like?